Welcome everyone to Vinyl Addict. This is Chili, and today is a flashback 2003. I'm going to give you guys 10 vinyls to look at, some debuts, some returns, and just all around what was the biggest album that year. It's kind of an obscure year. We're going up to 2023 next year, so 20 years back, 2003. It's a weird, odd year, so let's get started with this one right here, Mars Volta. This is a debut album, and these guys were, two guys here were the founders of At the Drive-In. They came out and did this, de-loused in the crematorium. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's prog rock and experimental jazz, all kinds of weird shit. And so, I mean, there was some cool shit that came out in 2003, and that's what's cool, going back and just picking a random year and just seeing, hey, what came out that year and what was going on. And Mars Volta came into the scene. Another band was the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Now this has been there's a debut and a three-piece here. Karen, the singer, it's just like, she's amazing, but it's sort of like a garage rock, art rock type of thing. Very cool band, and this was their debut. And one thing about this, I should just make a whole what do you call it about this? A whole video regarding this Yeah Yeah Yeahs album. It has like the most coolest shit in as supplements go. I mean, you get like this inner sleeve just to hold this like newspaper, and in this newspaper are all the lyrics to the songs. It was pretty cool. There's some other things in here, but yeah, see, it's just, that's what's the cool thing about vinyls, when an artist does things like this and just kind of takes it to another level, and give their fans, their listeners, something more to view while you're listening to it. This was a great one right here, because I always seen it and I was just like, it's always kind of priced really high, but like going into it, they got like all kinds of shit in here, it's odd stuff, but the album fucking rocks. So Yeah Yeah Yeahs, that was a debut 2003. If you haven't heard it, you better take a listen, because it is some great shit. Okay, so the next one I have here is, let's see, legendary band, 2003, Metallica put out St. Anger. This is the year they were talking about their feelings and, all kinds of stuff. Jason Newsted left, Bob Rock stepped in on bass, they were in transition. There was the movie, the documentary about this, and Some Kind of Monster. And a lot of people don't like this album. I'm not a big fan of theirs, but I thought this was, like I said before, this is the last time they actually tried doing something different. And a plus was taking Kirk Hammett off the album because he can't play for shit. Now, White Stripes, Elephant. So this was their third album. This is the one, of course, with Seven Nation Army. But, there's a lot of great songs in here. Black Bath, and of course, there's the other song that they had on here. Well, I just don't know what to do with myself, but the whole album was really good. Ball and Biscuit, The Hardest Button to Button. That was the one with, the video where there's so many drum sets and so many of them, and Duplicity, and there you go, White Stripes. And at the same year, Kid Rock put out a compilation of his greatest hits. And, you know, All Summer Long's on here, Devil Without a Cause, you know, American Badass. And so, here he is. Another one, debut here, Jet, Get Born. This was a great album. This is a retro band going kind of like having that 70s kind of thing going. The bell bottoms, the, you know, early AC/DC 3-chord rock, really raw. I'm talking like the Jailbreak kind of Bon Scott sound, Let There Be Rock, you know, kind of sound. It's very raw. Jet. This one had Are You Gonna Be My Girl and Cold Hearted Bitch. Yeah, this was good. And of course, veteran rockers, what we had was Iron Maiden. And this is the second album they put out with the return of Bruce on vocals and Adrian on guitar. And I like this cover. I like the cover art. They never disappoint with their artistry, you know. So Iron Maiden was doing things in 2003. Now I saw this next one. There was a video. This is Fountains of Wayne. Welcome Interstate Managers. Now on the hype sticker says one of the greatest power pop albums of all time. This is a limited red pressing. Now the album, the song here was Stacy's Mom, which was played religiously that year. And I remember hearing that song and it just, you know, it had a Cars kind of thing to it, and find out that, you know, the singer was saying, yeah, it was our homage to the Cars, just what I needed. But then when you get the rest of the album, it's like a, I don't know, they just kind of rip off everybody, or they're just paying tribute to so many things, like the Beach Boys. You hear these harmonies, and you hear like the singer goes through so many voices. He sounds like Brian Wilson one moment, then there's a lot of Oasis sounding kinds of songs here. And, you know, even I was just reading online about all these people saying, you know, that this is like an Oasis ripoff. But you wouldn't think that if you just heard the song Stacy's Mom. But there's some, it's just a great album though. I mean, they're great songs. If you're gonna copy and steal from, like, you know, the Beach Boys and Oasis, who, you know how to craft songs really well, then you're on the right path. So and James Iha from the Pumpkins comes in and plays some guitar on one of the songs. So this was in 2003, Fountains of Wayne. And our ninth vinyl here is The Return of Jane's Addiction. And this is Strays. And this was like 13 years after their last album. They broke up, Ritual de-loused Habitual, and they did the Lollapalooza thing. And they did like a couple of reunion tours in between that time with Flea, I believe, from the Chili Peppers. And so this was their first studio album, and they replaced the bassist Eric Avery with this jazz guy, Chris guy, I believe. It's okay. It's not, well, I think Eric was very important in their early sound, those early Jane's Addiction albums, and this is not like that at all. It's a lot of Dave Navarro kind of just him doing just kind of like 70s kind of rock riffs or Guns N' Roses riffs, and so it's really different. I like it though. I mean, I think the album after this was, you know, this is probably my least favorite of Jane's Addiction. The one after this, the Great Escape Artist, awesome album. But 2003, we had The Return of Jane's Addiction, and Just Because. And last but not least, the album of that year, of course, was Outkast. This is actually really 2 albums. There's just 2 members, and there's Big Boy and there's Andre 2000, 3000 at the time. And this is sort of like a white album. They're all doing solo albums, and they're putting it together, you know. And this is like 3 vinyls, and this won the Grammy for Album of the Year. They had songs Hey Yeah, Roses, of course, and The Way You Move. And so these guys were pretty much, you know, they had 2003 under their belt, and then they came out with a soundtrack and to a movie like a year later, and then we haven't heard of Outkast for a long ass time. But there is a difference between the 2 albums. I tend to like Andre's album. It's more reminiscent of old funk in the 70s, you know, and there's more funk and singing and vocals more than rapping, whereas Big Boy's album is strictly, you know, he doesn't sing or, you know, play anything, any instruments, and Andre does. And so his album is a lot more experimental and musical, while his is more just still keeping to the realm of rap and hip hop, and he has a lot of his guest friends on his album on his side. But I like The Love Below out of this one first, and then Big Boy Speakerboxx. And so that is 2003 in a nutshell. We had a real flashback there, you know, and let's do it again sometime. And comment on below. Did I forget something? Was there another album that you think that represents 2003? I know there was a few things out there. Evanescence was out there, and yeah, because there's a lot of things that came out in 2004 and 2002, and 2003 just seemed like, you know, but there you go. So like, share, and comment, and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.